Welcome to it then, episode 23 of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. This is the place for winners. We're once again joined by an in-form Tony Bullen. Best bet again going in, Tony. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, we got a bit of 9 to 4 early prices. They'd done the 7 to 4, ended up returning 5 to 4 and did the business, mate.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, we'll look back on last week's big race, of course, the Puppy Cup at Sunderland, sponsored by ARC. A little bit quiet on the Category 1 front this week, but we are going to have a little peep at Hove on Saturday night. Loads of trial stakes for next week's big race in there, the Sussex Cup, the Premier Greyhound Racing Regency. And maybe we'll chat a little bit about the Northern Flat and the Angel of the North Oaks, which both start at Newcastle next week. But of course, do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know that you are following Tony's millions of winners being provided here on Off the Leash, and let us know what competitions you're looking forward to, who you're playing anti-post, and what are your thoughts on the upcoming competitions. Right, we'll get stuck straight into it then, because we're going to head to Wearside. We're going to head up to Sunderland. It was the £7,500 Arena Racing Company Puppy Cup final. Now, it was wide open. But the original favourite was Untold Ruble in track 3 for Tom Hilborn. And as you mentioned last week, Tony, not quite been firing throughout the competition, got to the final and certainly fired on this occasion.
Yeah, got it right on the night. And that's, I mean, Sunderland does suit a front runner. If you can get around them first 2 bends in front, you've always got a chance of opening up a winning advantage. And it's exactly what Untold Ruble did. Tom Hilborn's bitch has made a tremendous start to her career. As you say, suffered a bit of a blip in the first round and the semi-final, but it's all about producing on the night. The outsider Newing solely finished second, but keep an eye on No Better Feeling. I thought this dog ran an absolute blinder, not because I just put him up, but he did really run a stormer, having got detached, done a lot of running. I think the third will be suited to a stiffer 4 bends going forward, but the winner looks special.
Yeah, looks a nice type. Speaking to Tom afterwards, obviously nice to train a winner for his dad, Kevin, who's owned some brilliant dogs in the past, and John Jefferson involved there. But I mean, a few shows back, Tony, we discussed about how important the trainer is. You know, trainers that get to big finals and trainers that win big finals. And I spoke to Tom afterwards, and I suggested to him, like we spoke on the show, that this dog had done that blistering trial pre-competition. She didn't quite sparkle in her heat. She didn't quite sparkle in her semi-final. And he said, look, I think I might have overworked her. But Tom is a brilliant trainer, and he had that awareness to realise that, and he obviously corrected it for the final.
Yeah, and what Tom's done in recent times, he's scaled back on the graded, like the bread and butter side, so that doesn't necessarily get in the way. He's focusing on a select team of open race dogs, and the results are speaking for themselves.
Yeah, she's always been well regarded by them, and we might see her perhaps next week at Newcastle. We've got the Angel of the North and the Northern Flat, which will be worth £12,500 to winner. That starts next Thursday, and we'll move on to next week chat in general, because starting next Saturday will be the £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Regency and the £10,000 Coral Sussex Cup, 2 of the biggest competitions of the year, and nice that they run side by side, Tony.
Yeah, it is. It's tremendous that they run a side-by-side, because obviously one's over 4 bends, one's over 6 bends, and they're just tremendous. They stand the test of time, these 2 events, and hopefully there's a decent renewal next week.
Yeah, they both close on Monday, the 8th of July at noon. So if you're interested in getting involved or you want to look out for the entries, they will be out on Monday, the 8th. Right, on Saturday night, there are a plethora of trial stakes, both over the 515 for the Sussex Cup and the 695 for the Regency. And there's going to be some short price favourites, but we're going to talk about some of the racing. And more importantly, we're going to talk about some of the runners in those that will be contenders for both competitions. And we will start on Saturday in the 659, which is Division 1 of the Regency Trial Stakes. We'll have a look at some of the runners here. Then Hacker Carlo on the inside in trap 1, Magical Luna in 2, Speechless in 3, Our Mystery in 4, and Tremora Rex, who we saw recently in the Coronation Cup final at Romford, a middle seed in 5. 6 is vacant. Now we have to start with trap 1 on the inside, and we've got a little bit of VT as well to show. Now this is going back to the Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket down at Crayford earlier on this year. Of course, 2 laps of the track, 714 metres, but the 714 at Crayford, the 695 at Hove, always attracts a similar type. So we'll show it. Hakakalo doing the business here from trap 2. Belmore Sally in 5 and Havana Top Note in trap 1. That was a brilliant race, good performance. And at the time, Hakakalo was trained by Nathan Hunt. Now with Jason Heath, and this dog has been off the card. There's obviously been problems. And speaking to Jason on Saturday night, he's quite happy where he's at now. This dog has been ironed out the problems, and he's coming forward with every run. And I mean, his form is top class, both sides of the Irish Sea.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's a dog that's got a lot of middle pace for a stayer. He's not one of a smash and grab type. It's his middle gears that serves him really well. And he obviously won that big race at Toaster last weekend on Derby final night. So he's got him back to his best as Jason. And I think this will be a stepping stone for him to go into the Regency proper, full of confidence, the dog. I mean, our smasher, she's a stamina-laden type, but I can't see her giving Hakakalo a healthy start and a beating. Magical Luna ran behind Hakakalo recently. Tremora Rex, I think, is the dog that will put a bit of pressure on, but I just think Hakakalo will stay the distance a lot better. And I think Jason Heath's charge, as he showed at this race at Crayford, how classy he is when everything clicks.
Yes, well corrected. Our smasher, not our. I think our mystery might struggle to get the 695. So it's of course our smasher in trap 4. And he's from an incredible litter of stayers, this Hakakalo dog. You're thinking of Garfinny Blaze, Ballymac Katie, Ballymac Taylor, and Hakakalo. Absolutely incredible. Ballymac Anton and Ballymac Merkel, the breeding, all of them top class.
Yeah, indeed. And that's the thing with the dog. Connections must have been delighted when they've brought him back. He ran well on his reappearance, and he wasn't pitched. It was pitched in the deep end, in fairness. So the fact that he's got better and better, that's what you want to see. When a dog's had problems, it's the second and third run back where you're really looking that all is well, and clearly all is well.
Yeah, Saturday night, of course, picking up the Mark Siddle Memorial Trophy at Toaster. Now, he's probably going to be a short price for that race, Tony, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll make him short, make him odds on.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2 votes for Hakakalo there, though. But be interested to see how he goes. Top class stayer. Good to see him back. Right, another top class stayer, but also very good over 4 bends, is Droopy's Clue. Now, he was back to winning ways at Toaster on Saturday night. And we're going to have a look at the race he's in on this Saturday at Hove. Now, this is somehow he's ended up in Division 2 of the Sussex Cup Trial Stakes. I'm not really sure how that's happened, but he goes in trap 1, Stories Fuse in 2, Brentford Penguin in 3, Uncle Freddie, who's got a good record down at Hove, in 4. 5 is vacant, and 6 will be King Sydney. Now, we've got no VT here for Droopy's Clue, but his CV is incredible. St Ledger, Juvenile Classic, the George Curtis Ballarigan Bob Memorial as well. That was over the 740 down at Hove. But it looks like, I mean, he's in a Sussex Cup trial stake, that he's going to be in the Sussex Cup.
Yeah, or connections are messing around with the others and giving them a something to think about. But isn't it nice when you've got a choice like that with a class dog like Droopy's Clue? He ran in one of the most memorable races in defeat last year when he was second from post to pillar in the Stayers Classic at Monmouth. Brilliant race between 2 top class dogs. He was sensational in the Derby. I mean, connections must have been cock a hoop last week when he won on his reappearance. I mean, he suffered a setback. He broke the track record when prepping for the Derby. Obviously had that time off, back with a bang, showed a lot of urgency. The only dog I feel that can trouble him in this particular race on Saturday is King Sydney, who's a decent sort in his own right. But if Droopy's Clue gets it right, it's normally about what time he posts rather than what's in behind.
Yeah, the draw's quite nice for him, isn't it? I mean, he's going to be a short price, but Stories Fuse in 2 is more of a staying type, so he should really have the legs of that to the corner.
Yeah, I think I'll make him about 5-2 on, sort of around it, because King Sydney's no slouch, and the Uncle Freddie dog's been running okay. I mean, if he was silly crazy 4 on, it's a watching race for me anyway, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Notebooks are the ready for next week's Sussex Cup and Regency, but I had a chat with Alex Hanby, the owner of Keylight Hire Syndicate, of course, Pine Droopy's Clue. And I said to him, look, you know, if this dog hadn't achieved everything that he's achieved already, all of the above, plus the fact obviously he was Graham of the Year, then you would be, and he's going to be disappointed that he wasn't in the Derby, you'd be devastated, but there's still so much to look forward to. And Alex was saying, the options are endless because this dog can run in almost any 4-bend competition and almost any 6-bend competition.
Yes, it's a nice headache to have, but in some aspects, like with the Regency and Sussex Cup, they're 2 events that you'd love to win, but you've got to pick your poison. Personally, it looks like they might go the 4-bend route because he's been off the card. Stepping him up so quickly might sort of not be ideal, but you never know.
I like the play. Imagine that. What a curveball from Seamus and Teresa if he runs in a Sussex Cup trial stake and then they enter him in the Regency. We'll soon find out. Whichever one he turns up in, he's going to be anti-post favourite or very close to being it. So we look forward to seeing him. It's great just to see him back because he's a star of the sport. Right, we'll move on then to the 7:33 on Saturday night at Hove. And this is Division 3 of the Premier Greyhound Racing Regency Trial Stakes. And we're going to look at the bitch on the inside here who's done us a number of favours on Off the Leash. Baywatch Bullet, she goes in trap 1. Untold Florin in 2. Beatty's Electra goes in 3. Beloved Brenda in 4. Swift Radiantly in 5. And Move Over Oggy in 6. Now, we're going to go back to the Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger again down at Crayford. This was the semi-final, and Baywatch Bullet managed to get off the front here in trap 1, beating Droopy's Flotilla and Long Acres Porto. 153, 44.96 the winning time. And she's got that inside draw on Saturday, Tony, and she's got the pace to use it as well. Yeah,
I mean, I've tipped her up in recent shows because I like how good she is. I think you've just played the name game because you like the programme, Baywatch. But yeah, she's very good, Dave. She's a credit to Connections. And I like the way she ran last weekend. She ran behind the Crafty Chevaux and she was in front of the pickup, and that was a good class lineup. So I think she'll relish the return to a true 6-bends. I feel there's nothing to hold her up on the inside here. The Move Over Oggy dog, who's in trap 6 in this race on Saturday, he does pack a bit of a finishing kit, but he's a little bit hit and miss. He isn't always on display, and I just feel that if Baywatch Bullet secures first run, she'll just keep her foot on the gas. And as you say, this was her reaching the Kent St Ledger final.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's classy. She's not going to be the strongest, but she's got enough pace to get off the front. She's going to match almost anything else that lines up in the Regency for early speed. So with an inside draw, she will always be a player with that pace. So 2 votes for Baywatch Bullet there in that trial stake. And of course, she could be quite an interesting runner in the Regency because if she keeps getting trap 1, they'll all be trying to reel her in. There won't be many that can live with her to the winning line the first time.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, that's what, talking about Droopy's Clue, where he would go. You'd have to take that into account. Is the Regency going to be railer heavy, early pace on the inside? So they're the factors that you'd have to take into account. But she's a little gem for Connections, Baywatch Bullet.
Yeah, she's classy. Right, we'll move on then to the 807 on Saturday night. This is Division 2 of the Regency Trial Stakes. Sporting Pegasus on the inside in trap 1. Broadstrand Noah in 2. Queen Georgia in 3. Loki's Deception in 4. 5 is vacant. Turkish Lira in 6. Now, we will have a look at Queen Georgia here. Now, obviously, she was fetched in by Hacker Carlo in that Mark Siddle Memorial Trophy final on Saturday night at Toaster. But we're going to look back to her finest hour. We're going to enjoy her winning the 3 steps to victory at Sheffield. Now, from trap 2, 38.88 the winning time. Savannah Heros in 1 was the runner-up. Claire Kefremi in 4. This was really impressive. Now, obviously, she was picked up on Saturday, but I think she was picked up by a good one. So she's going to line up here, again, a short price, and she's going to be a big player in the Regency. Yeah,
and this 3 steps to victory competition that she won at Sheffield was tailor-made for a bitch like her because she's capable over an easy 4 bends. Then you have the little bit of a stiffer 500 metre distance for the semis. And it was a question of, does she stay? Well, Liz and Rad McNair clearly felt that she would stay, and she did stay. She broke their hearts. She ran riot 38.88 over 660 metres at Sheffield. Very good. And she's made a smooth transition to the staying scene. 7.12 at Toaster takes some getting. She broke the track record in the first round, won the semi-final, was only just picked off. she uses a lot of energy for the first part of the race over this distance, and she has been on the go a little bit, but she's as fit as a fiddle, and I think she'll break their hearts in Saturday, Dave.
Yeah, she's going to, again, very similar to Baywatch Bullet. You know, her running and her race is going to be off the front. You know, you're not going to see her coming from, 8 lengths off the speed coming through to score. You know, over this sort of trip, the 695, which takes some getting. There's no hiding place here. I know it's not the 740, but the 695. How many times have we seen grounds win over the 714 down at Crayford and not even get home over the 695?
Patches Kerry, point in case, sensational in the golden jacket, didn't day the 695. So that bitch that could just nip round them tight curves at Crayford, it's a different type of beast at Hove. There's no breathing space and hiding place. So it does sort the men from the boys.
Yeah, they just seem to be, because of the cambered bends and the long sweeping bends as well, they just seem to be flat out the whole time. So there's no, as you say, no time for a breather down at Hove. Right, the final race we'll look at then on Saturday night is Division 1, the Sussex Cup Trial Stakes, and it'll be Never Say No in 1, Carol's Hero in 2, Bombay the Joker in 3, King Coombs is back in 4, Droopy's Display in 5, and Lucky Sevens, the wide, in 6. Now, we've got no VT here, but the market and thoughts and claims are probably going to revolve around the 2 drawn down the middle here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think one won't be a big price to Never Say No for sure. He's a stalwart on home soil, and he done himself justice at Toaster. I think he's a big player in red, particularly Carol's Hero could just give one a bit of room, and 37 kilos of Never Say No, he'd be a real handful if he goes round handy. The Bombay the Joker for John Mullins, he's at his very best when able to front off, and he's got a chance of enjoying the luxury of leading in this particular race. But with it being over 5:15 metres, I'm going to be with King Coombs. I thought he'd sort of just seen his form dip a little bit. The pizzazz hasn't necessarily been there in recent hands at Toaster. I think the return to Hove might just turn King Coombs on, and we know he's got that ability to shift through the gears at a vital stage of a race, Dave.
Yeah, he obviously has got good form. I think he finished 3rd in the Olympic after finishing 3rd in the Puppy Derby. So I think he chased down King Memphis twice. So yeah, the gallop, the wide open spaces, the stiff 4 bends down at Hove will certainly play to his strengths. I don't fancy him as a stayer. I think just the stiff 4 bends is where he's at, and yeah, he'll be a big player in the Sussex Cup without a doubt. I'm just going to take a chance with Bombay the Joker, just because I think if the dog can find a start, he might just slip away. And given the makeup of the race, you might have a Never Say No and a Droopy's Display just slotting in behind him. Now, if King Coombs is anywhere near his best and gets a run, it'll pick him up and carry him home. But I'm just going to take a chance that Bombay the Joker can get first run, slip away. And King Coombs, you wouldn't expect him to be on top of his game because it's just a trial stake, right? You'd fancy that Liz and Rad McNair will be sort of bringing him back and hoping that he can be at his best during the Sussex Cup. But saying that, Tony, these quirky salts can just switch it on at any time.
Yeah, and switch is the word, Dave, what you've just used there. Obviously got familiar with Toaster for the Derby campaign, but switcheroo, I think he'll get out of the van and his ears will prick. He'll think, hang on, I'm at a different venue. And I think that might work the oracle.
Yeah, it's one of the better races on Saturday night at Hove. Right, that wraps up Saturday night. Before we get to this week's best bets, it wasn't on the Premier Ground Racing Service, but we are a ground preview show. And so we'll have a little bit of chat on the Greyhound Derby, which happened out the final on Saturday night at Toaster. And it was a dream realised, an ambition reached for Liam Dowling with his De-La-Di-Da. Bred, reared and trained at his world famous Ballymac kennels, and the emotion was pouring out of the whole team on Saturday night, and a very worthy winner. Liam had been knocking on the door with the likes of Ballymac Vix, Ballymac Taz, Ballymac Fair One, all these dogs that he'd steered to the final. He only entered 6 and he managed to steer 2 of them to the final, Ballymac Gizmo and De-La-Di-Da. Heartbreak for the McNairs and the KSS Syndicate. The favourite King Memphis got the start all wrong, but De-La-Di-Da absolutely tore down the far side, and a brilliant winner for Liam Dowling and the Garson Syndicate, the owners.
Yeah, it was a fitting victory as well. I mean, because once Free had missed the break, the Lardidar was able to put himself in a prime position out the second bend, and he slipped up the inside of Churchfield Sid. And what made it a fantastic race, he equalled the track record. So we've got 3 track record holders now: the Lardidar, Droopy's Clue, and King Memphis. So, I mean, 28.58 to produce your best run on the final underlines the talent of the dog and Liam Dowling.
And a good derby, a vintage derby, I'd call it.
One of the most memorable. You always have certain derbies that are talked about. Every derby winner's a good derby winner, but yeah, be one that's etched in the memory, this one.
Right, some of the stars that sparkled on the supporting card as well, because I think we might see them in the coming weeks and probably be talking about them on this show. We'll start with Wiki Ned. Spoke to Jimmy Fennick yesterday. This dog is going to be campaigned for the Northern Flat up at Newcastle, which I mentioned at the top of the show. Starts next week, and we'll be talking plenty on that. Interestingly, that Jimmy said, look, he's had less than 10 races. He got worked up at the kennels. He was definitely wound up. They had a 5, 6, 7 minute wait before they even made it to the track. And that definitely, and he still got the job done, but he just wasn't quite at his very, very best. But he holds this dog in the same sort of regard that he holds Ice on Fire, who's of course a champion. And it's very easy to forget how lightly raced this dog has. I think he's only had 8 or 9 races in his life.
Yeah, he's got good early. I thought he showed the right attitude the other night as well, because it takes some getting the 500 metres at Toaster, even though you can free wheel home off the front. But he, as you touched on, he's lightly raced, still falls into the could be anything category. I think Connections were a bit unfortunate in the first round of the Derby. They was in with Lynx Maverick, a lot of early pace type, super fast Gordon. He's a dog that always going to show his best form off the front, Wiki Ned. He's not going to be a dog like a King Coons where he comes from 3rd or 4th spot to win his races. He's going to be all action from the off, blasting clear. He puts up fast times, and that tells you that he could be the real deal.
Yeah, he's classy. Look out for him next week up at Newcastle. 2 bitches I'd like to mention, Queen Joni and Crafty Chevaux. Now, if they just battle it out for the rest of their careers against each other, I'll be happy. You know, I'd pay to turn up and see them have a match race anywhere. That's how good they are.
They are. I mean, Queen Joni, I mean, wow, she's just special. She cheats the draw. Her strike rate's second to none. She's just absolutely phenomenal. It's like she knows what she has to do, and she'll show that extra yard to make the bend in front. And she's game as anything. She puts the gents in their place, let alone the bitches.
Yeah, and if either turn up down at Hove, there'll be big players in the Sussex, won't they?
I think they will have a few, because they're going to be attacking the same type of event. So we're going to, as you touched on, potentially see a few clashes between the pair. At the moment, Queen Joni's got the edge, upstaged Crafty Chevaux in the Brighton Bell and on Judgment Night. But I'm sure they'll be taking turns in beating one another. Yeah,
we look forward to seeing them. And the final dog I wanted to mention was a dog that broke the track record over 2 bends, and he's got form over 4 bends. Richie Taverner's Aero Secundii for the Aero Racing Syndicate. Stuart Fallsdyke involved. Good to see Stuart have a winner on Derby final night. A man who has ploughed a fortune in terms of money, time and effort into the sport. And he's got a serious greyhound there in Aero Secundii.
Absolutely took off. I mean, he threatened the clock in the semi-finals. He missed the break in the first round, and people started thinking, I'll take this dog on. He ain't really an out-and-out sprinter. But the sun on his back, I think the dog's just feeling good, and he's shown that. That's a good clock what he's done now. And the beauty of him with these going conditions, the step up to 4 bends isn't going to be an issue.
Yeah, I wonder if they might maybe go for one on home soil and go for the Gold Cup more at some point. Who knows? We'll look forward to seeing him anyway. Right, it is now that time. It's that time of the week where Tony Bullen unleashes the fury. Best bets time. You can go anywhere you like, Tony. You can have a single, a double, a treble. You can be anywhere this week. What you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a double, a cheeky double at Hove, Dave. It's such a good card. I mean, you could put a few up, but the amount of times you go and start trying to put 3 and 4 up, one always lets you down. So we're going to start with Baywatch Bullet in that 733 over the 695. I think she'll dominate the inside, and she should stay one step ahead. And Antigua Bingo, Jason Heath's bitch in Sussex Cup Trial Stakes, Division 5. I mean, she's classy. Division 5 should suit her down to the ground. I think she'll be quickly in control in that, and I think the double will pay reasonable. So we'll try a little double this week.
Good stuff. Well, Tony has certainly been a man in form. I'm going to go as a Hove as well, actually, for my best bet this week. I'm going to go in the 626, and I'm going to go with the Puppy Oaks winner, Queen Dusty. I think we should be running okay at Toaster, but we mentioned a little bit earlier on a switch, a change of scenery. Now, she's not a quirky sort, but a switch down to Hove. She's got good form in the book there, got to the final with the Brighton Bell, and she's got a nice draw to work with. And I just felt that because she'd been beaten a couple of times at Toaster, maybe she will be a little bit underrated in the market. So she's got a good draw. I think she could be a backable price in that race as well. So she'll do for me in the 626 Queen Dusty. This has been Off the Leash in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. All the action live on the Sky Sports Racing channel behind the red button, and of course streamed on the website as well. We thank Tony as ever for his time, effort and expertise. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know who you're backing, who you fancy for the Regency, the Sussex Cup, the Angel of the North, and of course the Northern Flat coming up as well. Enjoy the racing, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time.